everybody, here again with another video about Israel Folau and his subsequent issues with the Rugby Association in Australia and his GoFundMe. Now I want to make it clear, this issue, Israel Folau has made a statement about freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and it is about that issue, but I think he's missing the point. And I think a lot of people that are donating to him are missing the point. You see, Israel Folau has the ability to fund his own legal fees. He's had to sell properties, he's had to sell cars, but he has the ability to fund his own. He has that ability to fund his own legal defense. Now, there's a GoFundMe page that is currently out that's seeking to help him in his legal fees. And people are free to make that decision. But it should be noted that he has the ability to fund his own legal fees. Freedom of speech is not something guaranteed as a right here in Australia. And I think that's something that people fundamentally miss. We have a freedom of religion. We do not have a freedom of speech in this country. Israel Folau can express himself how he wants, and that's his free speech. Let's look at the philosophy of free speech. Israel Folau can express himself as he wishes, and that is his freedom of speech. As a private business, in the business of maintaining its reputation and its belief systems and values, Rugby Australia also has freedom of speech, and they also have the ability to do with players as they wish, as a private business, as Twitter does, as Facebook does. This is a serious issue. And I think it's something that people are missing on the right wing of politics, is that Rugby Australia is within all its rights to do what they wish with Israel because he's breached his contract. He might use the guise of religious freedom, and his religious freedom would be to suggest that homosexuals, atheists and the like are all going to hell. Now, did he need to make that tweet? We could make that argument that he didn't need to make that tweet. His religious beliefs wouldn't have been infringed at all if he didn't make that tweet, but he made it an issue about people that support the game, that support him. He may have said to people that support him as a player that they have doomed themselves to hell because of some arbitrary thing that we put on them as a society from a religious perspective. This is a very deep conversation that we need to be talking about. And to see some people on the right wing of politics suggest that this is a fascist move from the left, when maybe the left has been calling for his boycotting, but that's their free speech. A fascist move from the left? I don't think Rugby Australia has a political agenda. They have a market to address. They have a bunch of people to show their support to. There are a lot of people of the LGBT community, of the atheist community, of many communities that would follow Rugby Australia and were probably deeply shocked at what Israel Folau had to say. Because when it comes down to it, that religious opinion isn't far from what we see in many religious orthodoxies around the world. In Islam, in Christianity, in Judaism, it's the soft bigotry underlying those religions that we don't talk about enough in today's society. In our secular country in Australia and in the United States and in many European countries, it's something we don't like to talk about. Religion, I believe, doesn't have a place in the public sector, and private companies have every right to do with what they wish to players that breach their terms of contract. And if part of that terms of contract means looking at how players breach their terms of contract, then that is something that needs to be addressed as a serious issue. I think, to sum up this topic, I think Israel Folau has expressed his freedom of speech. He has told the people of the world what he thinks of certain groups of people, and in doing so, those groups of people have responded with their own freedom of speech. Let's not get this confused. Freedom of speech is a vital value that we should always uphold in Australia, and I would support them. And that's why I support Rugby Australia's ability to get rid of Israel Folau, because he has broken the terms of his agreement with Rugby Australia. As a private business, should be allowed to fire or get rid of anyone that violates their terms and conditions. Freedom of speech is not being threatened. Freedom of speech is alive and well in Australia. And if anyone suggests that the fascist left are taking over freedom of speech in Australia, let's just make it clear we don't actually have freedom of speech in this country. But the principles of freedom of speech are not being infringed by the fascist left because they are merely using their freedom of speech to combat Israel Folau's freedom of speech. That is my take on the issue. I'm open to having a dialogue with anyone who wants to talk about this issue or any other issues regarding Australian politics, New Zealand politics, local politics, hard issues of values. I'm happy to have that conversation with anyone. So thank you for watching. Thank you for taking on my input. Have a nice day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video.